Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular Review.
Thank you all for clicking on our faces.
New flag with all that.
Okay, so I wrote down some notes.
Shots do that. I don't want to sit too hard. That's twice. That'll probably go over about as well as Colonel Dippy.
Because there was no Jay White site.
Okay, just straight up gang banging.
This story has been fit. You gotta pay attention.
So Unpopular Review does not. What is she the CEO of, Chris? Jesus, golly.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for clicking on our faces. We're back again this week, bringing you another One Shots, which is a series on our channel here where we take a show and give it one shot to impress us by watching the very first and only the very first episode of whatever series. So tonight, again, we are back in Star Wars and we are discussing AHSOKA. Episode 1. Now, fellas, couple highlights. What are some things that stuck out to you in episode 1 that you enjoyed? We'll get into the negative, but that you liked. Silence. All right, I'll go first.
Okay, there we go.
I liked that. I believe that this was a fan cast as far as Rosario Dawson being in it because originally this character of AHSOKA, I want to say she became a character in the animated Clone Wars show. Yeah. So ever since then, people have been kind of like fan casting Rosario as AHSOKA. So it was nice to see that kind of like took place. And I guess, the showrunners and everyone was paying attention to what the fans wanted. So I love that about the show. I also love that apparently, as you know, we only watched the first episode, but the show's been out for some time and you hear things. And apparently Hayden Christensen came back to reprise his role as Anakin, either Anakin or Darth Vader, not 100% sure, but he's in the show apparently in later seasons, which is again cool because in the Clone Wars show, it was, him and AHSOKA that was out here, battling aliens. So that was cool to see, or at least to know that took place. Another thing that I enjoyed was, I guess, the vibrancy of the visuals. Like everything looked pretty good. Like we got, this situation here. Again, we got the costume design looking just like the character. So I thought that was great. Now, for me, a couple of the cons, and this has been a con for a while now for me when it comes to Star Wars. I feel like you have to have a PhD in Star Wars lore to know what the heck's going on sometimes. And and that's not me. And when we get to these more, I guess, grandfathered in characters, because the Clone Wars animated show came out when I was young. Like this isn't no new show. So these are, older characters. So a lot of them you have to know the significance of it. And that's what makes covering Star Wars so daunting in a way. Unless it's like some of the newer things, unlike the Acolyte, which we did last week, which is pretty much all new characters. I believe this is all new kind of situation. No Skywalkers, nobody like that there. Which makes it a little easier to kind of dive in. But these AHSOKAs and stuff, it's confusing. But what are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, just to piggyback on what you were saying, if you don't know all of the content, it's hard to follow. Like now, after what you said about Clone Wars, now I get it, because I found it interesting how she's connected to Anakin Skywalker. I mean, because that's a character from, but I didn't know this because I don't know the lore of Clone Wars. So it's basically telling me like, "Oh, go watch Clone Wars so that you know what I mean." And it's so much to watch, but then at the same time, it just makes me think that like their fan base is so strong that they could just make a character out of poop and then and put a storyline and make it a thing. The other thing that I found interesting is just that like they recycled a lot of the designs. C3PO is like blue now.
Oh yeah, I didn't get an image of that robot character, the one that
Oh
was hanging
no.
out with Ahsoka. they're
Yeah, like they're all like around the same design,
Uh-huh.
and the R2D2's little running around.
Yeah,
Like they yeah, like they like that. I like, and then there's just certain things that like you would think that after so much time would evolve in a certain way. And certain things like you do see, but like even in the beginning, like when they had the whole invasion,
Mhm.
it really felt like a lot like the original Star Wars movie. Like the costume design and everything, it just felt very, very old school. It was given 70s.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
And then once it went further in, then you could see it was a little bit more modern. But yeah, like and Rosario Dawson to be the main character, I found that to be interesting. But now that you say that, now I get it, because she's probably a fan. So she was probably fanboying on that whole thing. You know what I mean? And plus, I mean, Rosario Dawson, like, she's got a lot of pull. Like she.
Yeah, she's out here like Daredevil. We were missing from
Mhm,
those seasons and stuff. So
mhm,
like I said, she was definitely a fan cast. I
mhm.
remember hearing like people really wanting her as Ahsoka. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention as a negative. Now that we were talking about it, though, in one of the opening scenes, like earlier on in the episode, we see Ahsoka. She's gone on like this quest to get this map, right? And she gets it. It's this orb looking thing. She brings it up, and we get like our first fight scene of the series. And I was unimpressed. I was unimpressed with the fight scene. It looked like the choreography was a little, excuse me, a little slow, a little like, I don't know, it just seemed like I was looking at someone practicing fighting. And that's not how it's supposed to be, when it's Star Wars. Just one of the main things is the lightsaber. It's supposed to be out here like a samurai. And
Uh-huh.
it's something about it was just a little slow for me, as far as that particular fight scene. But what do you got to say, Jack?
I know I'm actually very quiet on this episode. I'm usually a talkative guy. You can never shut me up.
Mhm.
You said say something positive about this. I think Rosario was she did her job. She did her role. I mean, I can never say anything bad about her. And something you mentioned about the costume. Um, I thought they nailed it on the head with the costume, and that's why I stopped being nice. I thought this was way too long. I mean, I'm really not a fan of these shows being almost an hour. I remember even before we started recording early in the day, we know we have a group chat. We talked, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to catch this right after work. But how long is it? And when I heard what was it, 55, 56 minutes, I said, well, what are we doing here?
Mhm.
And I think that's very overwhelming for somebody who's not a big Star Wars fan. I'm entering this world, and you might say, well, you should watch the movies so you can get acclimated to what's going on. Um, Maybe so, but I just think if you shave 20, 25 minutes off this show, I might have said, oh, this might have been a little bit better for me. I understand they want to, um, uh, uh, they're painting on the canvas. They're sitting there trying to show you what this world is about. I get that. I thought it was a little too much. I just caught myself every chance I got not to look at the TV. Matter of fact, you said what was a favorite? Do have another positive for what I thought was my favorite. When I saw the credits, I said, "Oh my god, it's over." I
Oh
was
God.
I was very grateful when the credits came up. I sat there and said, "The pain is over." I got off my bed and I came in this room so we can talk about it. And also too, I have I have some food ready to be cooked. So I was very excited because I'm gonna get ready to cook and feed my tummy. So yeah, I just wasn't really a fan of this show.
Okay. Fair. As far as additional fight scenes that happened in the series, I do feel like when we were first introduced to these two characters, when they first come on the ship under, false pretenses, pretending to be Jedis, I feel like their fight scene was really well, particularly the young lady. I feel like she was really, making it believable as far as her skill. I wanted to see more of that, right? More of that, because Ahsoka's supposed to be like this big, this warrior. She was training to be a Jedi. She was fighting, kind of side by side with Anakin, who's one of the top fighters at that time. I believe, Anakin was, top dog pretty much. So yeah, that's just, I wish that this fight scene was as good as the one that we had with them. Now, as far as the performances go, Ahsoka was giving dry. I don't know if y'all talking about Rosario Dawson and her performance. It's something about it was a little dry for me, a little like too stoic. And though I'm not like a huge fan or like a huge, like avid Clone Wars watcher, I've seen like an episode or two. I don't remember her character being so stoic. Maybe it could be just my memory lapsing. But I wish they gave her a bit more of a personality. And also in this episode, it kind of didn't feel like Ahsoka's show. It felt like this character's show. Sabine, or whatever her name is. A lot of the episode was focused on her. She's it seems that she's Ahsoka's like Padawan, or was her Padawan. I'm not sure. But yeah, all of her majority of the show was focused on her. And this one scene when she was riding through the city, and she did like this stunt double move where they tried to perform or put in a blockade to stop her from leaving. And she ended up gliding on the ground to get underneath the blockade. And I'm like, how the heck she did that with her feet dangling at the bottom? She would have just been scuffed up, scraped up. How did this happen? But yeah, this show wasn't it for me, at least as far as episode 1 is concerned. If you're watching, please like the video and grab your drinks. If you're drinking a little wine, if you're drinking a little water, if you're drinking a little juice.
Honestly, I wish I was drinking.
Oh, now or when you were watching it?
When I was watching it. I mean, right now would just be the after party. But like during the show, I wish I was drinking. I said I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. But I think I do think one of the things, though, to be fair, for I don't want to speak for anybody here, but I just feel like we're not like big Star Wars fans here, and I think that's one of the things that really took away. I feel like once you understand like the lore and stuff like that, because I have to say, Star Wars fan base, I mean, I know they were eating this up, like what this was. And you was talking about she was fan cast, and it makes me think about because I want to talk about something interesting. It makes me think about Doctor Strange multiverse, and they cast Mr. Fantastic, because they was always talking about him being the role. Remember when they had him? So
Reed Richards, yeah,
yes, and I thought that, and I think things like that is actually pretty cool, because like I said, I'm not so much the acting so much for me, but just the appearance, and I felt like they did a great job on keeping that design and bring it into real life is what I'm trying to say, because I do remember that show. I think it was on Cartoon Network. God, I almost want to say like 20 years ago. So I think stuff like that is pretty cool. The show not so much, but yeah. And I promise I will not be watching an episode 2.
I was just about to ask you guys. So as we like to do before we end the show, we like to say, okay, would you give this another shot? Clearly, that guy Jack down there, it's a no for him. But what about you, Vic? Would you give this another shot and continue to watch the series?
Well, I mean, this is one of those things where, like you guys were alluding to, you have to know the lore. But it kind of makes me think of what it's like when a wrestling fan, when like somebody just comes to a wrestling show and doesn't know who anybody is.
Yes.
Like, hey. So, like, I get that compared to somebody who knows who everybody is. You know what I mean? So, like, that's one of those things. So, like, if I were to catch up and figure out the storyline, then yeah, I would definitely give this another chance. Because, like, for example, after all the stuff that we've watched with Marvel, I kind of want to go back and watch Captain Carter.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because that's something that came out years ago. It was a little series, but then it kind of brought in to the story, and like also like Agents of Shield. There's part of me that wants to watch that because that way I can know the full story. Even though like I'll probably be 60 by the time I'm caught up, but but still like it's it gives me that feeling of wanting to know more about this content. So if I felt that way, then I would definitely give it another shot. But like this is not, and this is definitely not for somebody that just wants to watch a show. This is fan based. You know what I mean? This has to be, you got to be somebody that knows and knows what's going on and watches it, or you're not going to be entertained.
I think that's actually a fair point. I mean, I just want to piggyback on some of that. It's for the diehards, and I get that. I mean, I'm trying to think of another show that's like that where they have this. I feel like the show.
I can tell you, it's pretty much all of Marvel at this point, which was interesting when he brought it up. Vic, you kind of have to have a PhD in Marvel now with Disney Plus, and they're connecting the shows with what happens in the movies, and I believe that was a big complaint. Recently, like for example, Deadpool and Wolverine, it talks so heavily about the TVA and all of that. So if you didn't watch Loki, it's like there's kind of a little bit of a disconnect.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, but mind you, I think that the new Captain America movie is going to do the same thing.
Probably with that horrible one I didn't like.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I know you.
When is Hawkeye getting this movie? God dang it! I want to see Hawkeye.
After watching this Hawkeye, I apologize, Hawkeye.
First of all, you like the Hawkeye show.
I still want to apologize because I said Hawkeye sucks. I was talking about the character. Meanwhile, this show sucked, and I apologize for using that word and having you in the same sentence. Hawkeye. So I do in fact apologize because oh my god, I started to fucking cry watching the show. But,
yeah. I am going to have to agree with you guys. I will not be giving this show another shot. It was boring.
Whiskey.
It was it was boring. You felt every second of that 56 minutes runtime. And it could be it could just be for the diehards. It could be for the people who are
definitely because you could see that there was a lot of little spots where they were giving you like snippets of what's about to happen, and then when the Irish girl got killed, that was shocking to me.
Wait, who?
The Irish girl, the redhead girl, the Becky Lynch. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know who you talking about. Who got killed?
I'm laughing when you said that. You said Becky. I was going to say she's not.
The redhead girl that was on the bike when she got killed. I was shocked because it's the first episode. Like, why is she?
Wait, hold on. Maybe did I pass out? I don't remember her being killed in this episode.
Yeah, when she
pass out.
When she fought the blondie. When she had the fight with the blondie and she got stabbed and she got
okay.
At the lightsaber fight at the end. Yeah, and she got killed, and I was shocked by that because I thought they were gonna do like it like you had alluded to before. It felt like the whole thing was surrounded around her, right? So now because they kept talking about her and making a big deal out of her, but then they kill her off in the first episode. I'm just
could be misdirect because as I was gathering these images, I saw this character with a different haircut. So I feel like she may have come back maybe in later episodes, similar to how Trinity came back in the Acolyte, at least in the flashback. But yeah, it's not. I would not be giving this another shot. I feel like it's unanimous across the panel.
I do want to say real quick, I would give it a shot so I can go to sleep and have 8 hours of it.
Oh God! If you're trying to
go, on some real shit. You know how they make like rain sound noises on YouTube?
I would have it in the background.
This is one of those things.
We're not about to trash.
I agree.
It's just for the diehard fans. So if you are a diehard, Clone Wars fan, and you've just been waiting to see it in live action, this is for you. Go ahead and check it out and let us know what you think about it.
real quick, I know we're about to end. I mean, I'm surprised we even got 20 minutes in here. I want to talk about something way more interesting because me and you see this appear. We have something called UPR battles. We don't have a graphic up here, but you can right now on UPR's Instagram vote. Who's the guy that you are representing? He's from Bastard.
Okay, yes. So if you are into character battles, Bad Guy Jack and myself do regular character battles on Instagram Live. So coming up this Sunday, we are going to be battling Dark Snyder, a la Bastards, with a character of your choice. So if you check out the unpopular.review Instagram page, I believe it should be linked below. Check out the unpopular review story, and you can select who you would like to.
You want to read the names real quick? Because I have them right here. One of them is Zebra. One is Demon Lord Amos. I don't know.
Demon Lord Amos is one character that could be a possible battling Dark Snyder. Who else we got?
Zebra. I forget what anime he's from. Dr. Manhattan and Doctor Strange.
Dr. Manhattan and Doctor Strange.
Yep.
So again, it's only going to be up for 24 hours. So you got until tomorrow morning to cast your votes in the unpopular review story on Instagram, and let us know who you'd like to see us battle. And also, I believe that you guys have a movie coming up tomorrow, Vic. What movie's dropping tomorrow?
Nah, we're not doing it.
Oh, well, all right. Then guess what? On Friday, you can join me and the girls. It's going to be another book review. We're going to be discussing The Washingtonian, which is a true, based on a true story, possibly a biography. It's very, who knows about a Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, SMEX worker and her stories of, doing that in Washington, D.C. So if you're into smut and you're into like a little bit of scandal, join us Friday for that book review. All right.
Smut and scandal.
Job on that, what y'all been doing. I do want to join this book club, but I don't know if everyone's ready for some cat in the hat because I think there's some good stuff there.
If you complain about an hour-long show, you definitely ain't about to be in for the book review, which is funny. Let's end the show. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please like the video and join us and subscribe to our channels. Thank you so much for being here. Goodbye.